All right. Here we are.
Here we are, live
Live.
on the Generation Void, the Retail Warzone, declassified. We got the Irish connection has not made it yet, but we have the Mad Dog. Say hi, the Mad Dog.
Roof.
And then we have the Rider.
Much less creative intro.
So
that being said,
so
go ahead.
do we have any audio echoes? Get that out of the way now.
I'm good.
Hero, is it good?
That's a thumbs up from Hero.
Awesome.
All
What's
right.
up, Mr. Taylor? How are you?
Anywho, this is the first episode of Declassified. Steve and I have some guests, and we're going to be talking tonight about some declassified stuff.
If that's what you want to call it.
Yes, sir. You can find me on my YouTube at Addicts2993 if you like gaming.
Shameless
You
plug.
can find me on... It's got to get out of the way first. You can find me on my Twitch at twitch.tv/Addicts2993 to watch me do some gameplays of things. Fun times. I posted on our subreddit the $20 question. So whoever has the best $20 question, I also posted it on my Facebook and in Discords, respectively.
It's also in the description of the video as well.
Whoever comes in here, leave us a follow, ask the best question. And these lovely declassified people and Steve will be the judge who wins that. I do get some saying that, though, but that'd be kind of biased. So I'm kind of like the tiebreaker, if anything.
Yeah. So.
That being said.
All right. So this is a new thing. This is a touch and go from a technical standpoint. Seeing how we have never had this many people on at one time. If you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you like the video. If you're not following the Facebook page, go ahead and follow. Same thing on YouTube. You know, give us a subscription, give us a like. We'll get all fancy notified here on the screen and whatnot. So let's do this. We'll start with the Mad Dog first. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business, and like what segments of business you've worked in.
So I've been in retail for, this is going to be my 21st year in retail. I have done apparel, hard lines, and everything in between, unfortunately. I'm just tired.
Yep, that happens.
I'm just tired.
That happens. So, your turn, Ryder. What would you like to tell us?
Well, I'm working on about, I was in retail for about 16 years, 13 of them with musical instrument retailers. 14 of them of my total time in retail, I was a store manager. And I just, as of this week, I'm officially out of the business now. So I've changed industries, nothing but dead bodies in the wake.
Nice.
Good for you. Glad you got.
Nice.
Glad you got out.
Jealous.
So
yeah, pretty happy about it.
So one of the things we wanted to talk about was, as a store manager, what keeps you up at night? What keeps you from losing, keeps you from sleeping? So how about we start with you, Mr. Ryder?
What kept me up, it feels good to say it in past tense, but what kept me up at night was the possibility of what could happen the next day. I think that was probably what kept me up the most. I knew that, somebody was going to get let go. I knew that I was going to it was anything that could have gone wrong. Like you run it through in your head, and that absolutely kept me up at night, was just running through the next day. The day that already happened. But for me, it was always the next day, running through exactly what was on my plate that day and what could potentially go terribly, horribly, tragically wrong. And that was always what kept me up at night.
I concur.
I feel that just from my short time as a supervisor at Uncle Sam Mart there. I was always worried about the truck that was coming in the next day and just worried about how am I going to get these guys to unload this truck?
Well, a lot of the things that you touched on, there's a certain degree of those that keep you up at night because you know that you don't get to control that decision.
Right. Well, that was a lot of, and for me, I was very fortunate during a good chunk of my time to have a really good team. So for me, it wasn't necessarily like the part of like getting people to do things all the time. It was a lot more of what could go wrong that I can't control. Like who's going to come into the store and cause a problem? Who's going to say something inappropriate? Who's going to do something inappropriate? What's the next thing that could happen? This particular subcontractor shows up the next day, and I know that there's going to be a problem with X, Y, and Z. This particular, because in the industry I used to be in, there was a lot of subcontractors. There were particular employees that you wouldn't worry about them doing things, but you would worry about what are they going to be late? Are they going to miss their shift entirely? Are they going to show up in the right state of mind? Like so much of that, it's not so much getting them to do things. It's that you worry about like what could go wrong the very next day over things that I feel as a supervisor to get people to do things. If it's not as hard to get people to do things, it's really hard to get people to do things well. And I think that's what probably kept me up at night the most.
I would agree. And, it's in that segment of business, given my time at the Guitar Center, you dealt with that uncertainty. It was a totally different level of uncertainty like you would have in like regular retail, because you're dealing with, like you said, subcontractors, you're dealing with musicians, you're dealing with people who gigged the night before. You don't know if they're going to walk in completely blitzed out of their fucking mind, and you got a business to run. And
right.
So,
well, and it's that you're responsible for it.
Exactly.
Too. You have their poor performance or their performance in any degree is a reflection on you. And so I think that's what probably, when I was truly invested in where I worked, which I was for some time, you think like, okay, if this person shows up and they flame out, or they just have an incident with a customer, or, getting lifted, if you walk in the next day, I remember coming back from a day from vacation and losing a very high end piece. I wasn't there, but it keeps you up at night. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where you just worry about what hasn't happened yet, I guess is the easy way to put it, right?
Yeah, and the big thing about that kind of stuff too is that it makes you, from a physical and mental standpoint, you feel like you're working 24 hours a day, even though you're at home. It's a constant cycle. Your days off aren't days off. You get phone calls, you get texts, you get crazy shit going on in your store, and you try to trust the people that you have, but because you're a store manager and because there's people above you, you take on an extra burden that's almost kind of unfair, because there's a lot of things as a store manager that get put on you that you really have no control over, but your concept of personal life is just thrown out the fucking window. It's gone.
Well, you're driving a car you don't own.
Exactly.
That thing is you're driving a vehicle that you have the keys, but you don't own it.
Yep.
And so
you also don't have the directions of where you're going.
No.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. You make a good point. It's that you have to arrive somewhere. Where that destination is, but there's no map. it's a thankless position in that way, where you spend more time worrying about what doesn't happen versus what you can make happen.
Yes, exactly. And you feel like even though there's things that you can't control, it's a representation of your leadership and what you're doing and the job you're doing, and it's really not. And it is so mentally taxing and draining that, I mean, you become soulless. I mean, you get sullen eyes, and you're just kind of, you become a zombie. And, you know.
Well, and not to, and I know you asked me a simple question. I apologize for going too down the rabbit hole.
That's what we're here for, man.
Yeah,
You're good.
but the thing is you know, what tends to not be talked about, you know, is when you're a store manager, you're in the middle, so you're simultaneously upheld to the highest standard, and yet, you know, I used to always say there's no doctoral candidates applying for X, Y, and Z where I was working at the time. You know, you're dealing. And you know, there's a lot of great people that work in retail, but let's be honest, nobody grows up wanting to sling gear or stock shelves.
Bingo.
You know, this isn't a dream job for anybody necessarily. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, is a pejorative way, but it's not. You know, you go to a lot of professions, and it's a lot of people's first stop.
Yes.
When you work in retail, you grow to love it. You know, you grow to love it, then you grow to hate it again. So it's one of those things where when you talk about an industry that in a position in industry that keeps you up at night. Yeah, it keeps you up at night because you're responsible for everything. And the talent pool of which you pull from has some gems in it, but it's also got a lot of stuff in it.
It
too.
does.
I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss.
You are absolutely allowed
Oh
to
no,
cuss.
you're fine.
Okay.
Fine.
No filters.
There's a lot of shit and only a few nuggets. You know what I mean?
100%. And, you know, I think one thing that I grew accustomed to, and this was something that, you know, even you and I have discussed, the amount of disruption to your personal time. I know there were a couple situations that we talked about, we'll put it that way, that were really just fucking shitty. I mean, they're just shitty. And you scratch your head and you're like, man, you go into it thinking, okay, maybe this gig will be a little bit different, and no, it's the same snake with just a different head. I mean, it really is.
Well, to touch on something that Ryder said earlier about, you know, oh, who's not going to show up today, or, you know, listen, when I walk in my building, I already have the assumption that I'm going to work open to close, and if I get to leave on time, that's the lucky charm, because that's not an everyday thing. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that I'm going to end up working open to close.
Right.
Because, you know, my barely above minimum wage part-timers are going to have something else going on. And when you've got your hourly members of management, they can't go above 40. There's no overtime. So you just wind yourself into the ground.
You hit it, Mad Dog, nail on the head, because it's kind of a better way to put what I just said, where, you know, there's nothing wrong with the part-timers having something going on, because it's a part-time minimum wage job. We're asking too much of the people at the bottom. We're not asking enough of the people at the top. So you're in the middle as a store manager trying to, you know, navigate through all the rest of it. So you walk in, you know, you get there an hour early, you stay an hour late, and anything other than that is just like a holiday bonus, right?
Yeah. And then,
well, you know, I understand that people have things going on, and I literally had to say this to somebody the other day. I said, you are scheduled a 6-hour shift 3 days a week. You have all the other hours of all the other days to handle your business, but you signed a contract and you agreed, and I am accommodating this bullshit availability that you've given me. And you're telling me that you can't come work this 6 hours?
Right.
I might just be tired, though. I might be a thing.
I will tell you, writer, that here in our area, the talent pool is god fucking awful, and you start to get desperate, and you'll just hire a body that's breathing because that's all you can do. All right, and we're back. Irish Connection, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
All right, so you haven't really missed anything. What we've been talking about is things that keep you up at night. And since we got you here, what I'd like for you to do is kind of talk a little bit about yourself. You know, how long you've been in the business, what sectors, will it be, you know, clothing, grocery, or whatnot. And then we will continue.
Okay. It's predominantly been in textiles, clothing. And that was more by accident than choice. Now, in terms of how long I've been in retail, probably about 20 years. Various different jobs within retail. Now, like a lot of people, I got into retail and kind of got stuck. You know, after a while, it's. I mean, this feels almost like retail AA. You know.
Yes.
I started retail when I was, I was in school. A lot of my friends were doing it. Then one thing led to another. Got hooked, and then I couldn't get out of the damn thing. But really, it's I've worked in various different places. I've worked for big box. I've worked for family stores. They're all very different. You know, they offer a different perspective on retail, each one of them. But you know, they all have the same kind of theme running through them, and that is that. If I can speak frankly, you're their little bitch, and at the end of the day, no matter how good you do your job, as soon as you become less than useful, you are absolutely fucked, and you end up going to the next person that'll do that to you. You know, it's like an abusive relationship.
You're 100% correct, and we just kept going back for more, didn't we?
Well, yeah.
So
and look, it's sorry, continue.
No, go ahead.
Well, look, in terms of what interests me, and I can't explain this about myself, really, looking back on it, is what kept me up at night. It doesn't make sense. It wouldn't happen. Well, it may happen in some other industries, but predominantly in retail, especially as in management, you feel like you're intimately related to this job, and you can't get it out of your head, and you're responsible for everything that goes on in the store. Every time your phone beeps, you're neglecting relationships and all the things that you do to provide for a family. You begin to actually neglect those relationships and prioritize work and I can't really explain why I did it, but it's a running theme. It happens to a lot of managers I've seen, and I don't know why we essentially marry a job that will be unfaithful to you in 1 second.
Oh my God, you are just, that is the most eloquently put description of the bullshit I have ever heard. That is amazing. And you're right. We do marry ourselves to it, and our personal lives suffer for it. My wife will be the first to tell you, there have been plenty of places I've worked where I was, not that I've not always been an asshole, but it got worse with some places that I worked because you can't rest. There was one time, Russell, you remember, what was her name? Selena, was that her name? So we hired this assistant manager, and she just kept calling and calling and calling and calling. She couldn't retain anything, and evidently she was on drugs. My wife is hearing me hollering on the phone, and one of the only times I picked my cell phone up and just threw it against the wall. Because I'm like, I'm off work. Leave me the fuck alone. But you're right. You marry it, and you feel like, you sleep with it. You really do. It's, and you're right. Nobody really knows why we did it other than the fact that it goes along with, like I've said, retail doesn't pay you what you're worth. They pay you just enough to keep you.
Well, and Steve, it's even after you leave too. I was answering my phone for my last job for 4, 5, 6 weeks after I left.
Man, I would have been like, fuck y'all.
Well, that's what it is. It's that you become invested in it. They give you enough equity that you feel like you're a part of it, but what you don't realize until they either take it away or you leave, like that you realize, oh, it was never there in the first place.
No, you're never as important as you feel like you are. You're just a cog in the machine. You're a part that can be replaced. Now, in defense of you, without going into a lot of detail, I know the things you did. And out of all the people I've ever met in my career, on the surface, the treatment, that was just obscene. Sorry.
I appreciate the sentiment.
And I mean that. I've said that to you a lot. And I've been doing this my entire life, so it's not like I've got anything to prove to anybody. But when you see bullshit, you see bullshit.
It was a only speaking to my personal experience. It was a tough. It didn't start out that way, but it ended on a tough note. But just because, like we were saying, like Mad Dog was saying, and like the Irish Connection said, you feel like you're elevated to this status where you're part of something, you know what I mean? And you're doing things. And then the next month turns over and you're no longer green, you're flat. And then you do it again, and then you do it again, and you're great until you're red. And then when you're red,
it's all your fault.
Well, it's like it's kind of like a house of toothpicks. You build up, you're green and your house gets bigger, and you're green and your house gets bigger, and you're green and your house gets bigger. But the whole time, what they don't tell you is that there's this one magic toothpick. If they pull it out, the whole thing collapses.
Yep.
And then you have to reprove yourself again.
And which is bullshit.
Right. It's a treadmill. I used to call it the treadmill of pessimism, because as the you're on this treadmill and like you get up to just enough speed that you feel good about yourself, and then then the first red month comes around and the treadmill speeds up.
Yes, and
Nice.
The bad part about it is, for whatever reason, although they all have the mental capacity in every business to understand this, at a certain point in time, after being in a location, like after a building, I'm not talking about the team, after a building being a location 5-10 years, it starts to plateau. Okay. You'll have some months where you're up a little bit. You'll have some months that you're down, but you've already saturated the market there. There's not a whole lot of people moving there. Your customer base is not going to grow that much, but somehow, some way, it's your fault that it's down.
Yeah.
Oh, no, what I love is that I'm down because I have shitty product. I'm down because the banks haven't released this stimulus and nobody has any money, but that's my fault.
Nobody has TV money yet.
I don't have TVs to sell them. Apparently
Well, I think everybody here can agree that as a store manager, when things are great, it's great. But when things are bad, it is, no matter what's going on in the world around you, it's your fault. Always.
So I'm a little bit of the opposite of Ryder of what keeps me up at night. What keeps me up at night is, what variable am I going to get blamed for tomorrow that I have zero control over? Like when our DC got snowed in and I didn't get a truck, so therefore I didn't have any new merchandise. Was that my fault? Absolutely not. But I got blamed because my sales were down.
Yep.
I have not had a functioning store phone for about 3 months.
Oh, that's a blessing.
And, well, you would think, but not when you need to hire, because the little piss ants that you have now think that going and getting their eyelashes did and going out with their boyfriend
Oh my
and
goodness.
basically doing anything else is better than coming to work.
I want to say something about Mad Dog here. All right, so
I'm just gonna say Alex has left the chat.
yeah, she works for a quote unquote bargain store. All right, and her background does not allow her for her store to look like a bargain store. Her store looks fucking phenomenal. It is in great shape. Well, at least the last time I was there, it looked great, and you could tell work was put into it. I can promise you, you can go to one of those exact same buildings around the area, and no one is going to look that good. But still, she catches shit. She's got the best looking one around, and it is like, oh, you're not good.
And again, it kind of goes back to something that we were talking about a little bit earlier. When you're up against numbers from a previous year, when we weren't in a pandemic, and that's still what I'm up against at the moment, is pre-pandemic numbers.
Ooh.
So I don't know what you want me to do with that when people still had their jobs, because I lost my previous job April 6th of last year. So
Are we talking about
we
talking about the decor store?
we absolutely are.
Fuck that place. Continue.
Correct. And he can ride his little fucking girlfriend all the way back to wherever in the hell he came from.
Oh shit.
Anyway.
Fucking
Anyway.
A, man. Whoo, boy.
So, but again, at this point in time last year, say from January to now, we are up against pre-pandemic numbers, which are astronomical, considering we can't get product, considering nobody has any money, and then being in a situation where you are desperate to hire, but people are now getting the stimulus. They're getting the extra $300 a week from unemployment.
But they're going to Best Buy, not coming to see you.
Taxes. Correct. I walked into Walmart the other day to get salad, and some dude walked out with a 70-inch TV. I'm like, he got his stimmy.
Hey!
Fucking hunt. They're not coming to. Oh, sorry. They're not coming to where I'm at to buy fucking washcloths.
Okay.
They're not.
I'm going to stop you for a second here because you just jarred my memory on something. So we've got 3 managers here from different walks of life, and we've got managers out there watching. So I'm going to pose something to you from an ethical standpoint, and I want every one of you to chime in and tell me what you think. So, what would you think about a district manager who keeps talking about the store they used to run is so great, and the manager currently running that store
is his brother?
No. He was banging.
Oh,
and
okay, yeah.
And this same district manager's brother works underneath him. Now, to all of you out there in retail land, would you not think that that would be a conflict of interest and some things would need to change?
But Steve, you forgot about the part that every time he travels to a different store.
Oh, yeah. He brings the girlfriend with him.
She comes with him.
Yep.
They drive one car. They get one hotel room.
Seems less than professional.
It is, but what that situation proves to everyone is that the good old boy network is alive and well because the regional vice president does not give a shit.
Right.
Anywho.
Here's my thing about that. Hold on. One more thing. Here's my thing about you.
Alex is laughing at what Hero just posted.
Somehow, it took you 11 years to get to that position.
What, to DM?
Yes.
Yeah.
With the same, it took you 11 years.
No, Russell, I disagree. It is his personal life. But when it becomes blatantly obvious and it crosses over into business and favoritism is there, yeah. It that's not getting the job done. That's causing drama where none needs to exist.
Whew.
He doesn't get the job done.
Well, that's right,
can't
because
hit me with
it was
that.
my understanding after I left, there was a conversation that was overheard talking about how he was grading his stores higher than what they actually were.
Oof.
You are correct.
Yep.
He was pencil whipping his evaluations just like the bald one did.
Fuck the bald one.
Yeah. Yeah. And the rag that he uses to shine his head.
Ooh.
But that he was doing the same thing that the bald one was doing.
No, the
And-
bald one was sitting. The bald one would sit and guys, this is no shit. This is a true story.
Sit in the office, eat gummy bears, watch football.
He would sit with his feet up on the desk and watch football. And at one point in time,
100%.
sat in the office with his feet on the desk playing a Nintendo Switch.
All right, I say we get the bald one and we get the mad dog on here and we have a court
Oh,
session.
fuck no, man, because you...
No, I would reach through the phone and touch someone.
Yeah, you'd see some sort of paranormal bullshit go on.
I would love to see that. Anywho, I just want to read some chats real quick. Biba says, hello, gentlemen. Hi, Biba, if you're still watching. This stream is going to be a lot more long-winded and ranty than usual, and it's beautiful every second of
Yes!
it. The fuck today. I look forward to firing people. Jesus Christ. That's why I say you need to come be my boss.
She'd run you in the ground, Alex. You'd go home crying.
I don't care, man. I don't care.
Who said they look forward to firing people?
Mad dog.
Today.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
I understand why. I have the inside scoop.
Ryder, you're 100%. Hey, Ryder, you got some fans.
Oh, all right. There's one.
Earlier, talking about having just bodies in the building.
Yeah.
I would like to shout out to Kira Christine. I don't know who Mad Dog is, but I love this woman.
Oh, yeah, I seen that. I was about to get to that one. Steve, you're a sweetheart like me. We just let our sarcasm do the talking. We nice assholes. Steve, one time my mother actually, when she met you at Felmark, my mother was like, Steve is such an ass, but he's one of those nice kind of asses. That's
Brilliant.
Hilarious.
Mission accomplished.
And I was like, yeah, that's a funny story for y'all. When my mother went up to the store one time, I didn't go with them. Met Steve.
Was this the seizure?
They
Was
go
this
up
the
and say-
seizure story?
No.
Shit.
They walk up to Steve and they say, hey, we're Alex's parents. And this motherfucker, he just says, I'm sorry. And that's all he says. I'm like, yes, Steve.
Yep.
Yes. Beautiful.
So,
And I have no doubt that he said it with a straight face and then just kind of like turned around and walked away.
Oh, yeah. Steve, remember that night?
that's the way.
Remember that night we all got out of my tiny little pocket car, like 6 of us, and you're just standing outside the building and just start shaking your head?
I remember standing
That's-
outside the building shaking my head a lot there, Alex. So
that's a story that we talk about.
So let's do something real quick. I have to step away for just a second. You guys continue. Irish Connection, you still with us?
I am indeed.
Okay, so Alex, chat. So this gentleman, and obviously judging by your accent, you are native?
Yes, I am.
Correct. Okay. This is your opportunity to ask this gentleman how different retail is overseas. So ask away.
Oh yeah, definitely. How different is it? Because over here in the U.S. of A, a lot of complaining, a lot of Karens, a lot of Kyles, a lot of people just complaining for literally zero reason. So tell me, do y'all have employees that are just really focused on working, or is it about the same and you just have a ton of laziness over there?
Okay. Well, in the first instance, I suppose if you were to travel here, you may be unfamiliar with the environment or the landscape. We drive on the left-hand side of the road here, but you would be right at home in retail.
Oh, it's just no different.
Well, I won't say it's no different. I mean, I'm reasonably familiar with the States. I've been there a bunch of times. My wife is from Buffalo, so I do know the States. I've shopped in the States. I haven't worked there, but my wife worked retail in the States. So it is not identical, but it's very, very close. We do have our Karens, we do have Kyles. Probably maybe a little more infrequent. I think the culture over here is a little less tolerant for that. But in terms of the actual job, they care about you just as much as they do over there.
I have somebody in the chat.
Wow.
I have someone in the chat asking you, are the customers still entitled assholes? Do they shit on the floor of your restrooms or your dressing rooms?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have a question for you, personally. Have you ever seen Sergeant Ducky on YouTube?
Yes, I have.
You remind me a lot of him.
I have a funny feeling I might have worked with him at some point.
Because that guy, I literally sat down and watched every one of his videos in one day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And it just enthralled me just to know that retail is just kind of global, just around the earth.
Look, retail is like the front page of the public. You know, they seem to let down their guard and when they go into a store and they don't realize that they're in public. It's like you know that people can see what you're doing and hear what you're saying, right? You know, this isn't. It's just really strange. As soon as they walk past the front door, they take on a different form. Now, in fairness, most customers are actually okay, but they're not the ones that stick in my mind. You know, employees, yeah, they're. I suppose it might be appropriate for the name of this channel. You call it the Generation Void. That there is an actual Generation Void in retail. Okay, we've got older employees that started working 25, 30 years ago. That they are locked into these ironclad contracts, and they stopped giving a fuck about 20 years ago. And you can't get rid of them. They're just impossible. They're unionized, all that sort of stuff. Then you have the middle people, which I'd be in the middle. But then you have the younger generation coming in, and the first thing they do is not give a fuck. Because they have it in their minds, fuck retail, I'm only doing this to get some money. I'm going to college, I'm going to do something different. And very often that's not the case. They get stuck. I got stuck. It was after a couple of years when your resume reads retail, you can't move. Well, you can move. It's not true. I found it very difficult to move.
No, that's actually very true. That actually happened to me as I started working with Steve here when I was 18 years old. As I was like, oh, I'm just going to work, save me up some money, get me a car, et cetera, et cetera. And it has literally been until the past 2 years now that I've worked in retail ever since, and I am 28 years old, like as of current.
Alex,
well, it's true that what he says is it's kind of the front page of the public. It's the one place where virtually any walk of life can go and have that sort of superiority complex, where you must be here because you did something wrong. You must be here because you didn't try harder. You know what I mean? It's like people go in there with that sort of superiority complex, so naturally they're more ready to be like condescending. They're more ready to be sometimes downright abusive towards retail associates because they walk in knowing, oh well, I'm better than that person. You know what I mean?
I got one more question for you real quick.
Hold up just a second. There's something I want to point out here. We have a statement here. We can't find people who want to work. Are you okay with me saying the profession that you're in, Miss Lister? I think it's kind of important. Not where, but what industry.
and Irish Connection.
Hold up.
Okay.
Because this actually goes hand in hand with everything we're talking about.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
Personally,
So
Irish Connection, I love to hear you speak.
So here we go. So Miss Lister works for an employment agency. She is one of those places where they try to get people jobs. And temp agency. And her comment was, we can't find people who want to work. I will say Mad Dog and I know this better than anybody because we had to use those services. Other ones. And what you got sent were terrible because you're right, Tiffany. People don't want to work. They really don't.
But it's the same mentality though. It's the same mentality when you're trying to hire somebody directly for a retailer. They want to work when they want to work, and they want the money. They only want the money like if they've got some bill that they have to pay. But to have to do it every day and continue to do it, that's not their thing. And that's what appeals a lot to people who work for the tip agency. They can easily say, no, I don't want to take that job. Because they know, I only need $300 for this bill, so I can not work these days and then just go to work these days, and I got that bill covered.
Right. Now, Mad Dog, I'm about to respond to something that Miss Lister here posted about. We had 10 people scheduled for orientation and nobody showed. You know my plight. I talked to you a lot about what happened. There was a day that I called 50 people. 50 people. And I confirmed 30 of those for interviews over the next however many days. And it was like less than 10 actually showed up for the interview. That's how bad it is.
Steve, I sent out over the course of 3 days,
Hold up.
I sent out 60 open interview invitations to people who had applied to me. I didn't go search them out. They applied to me. I sent out 60 invitations for interviews. I had one person show up for a part-time position, and he wanted full-time $22 an hour. And I said, unfortunately, I don't think you can read, because that's the complete opposite of what the posting said.
Agreed. I have to get a question in here because I'm curious about this myself. I didn't think about this. Irish Connection, inventories. Do you have outside inventory services that come to your stores, or do you do that in-house?
Well, for the most part, it's in-house. I mean, those people do exist, but it's mostly an in-house thing.
I know here we have a company called RGIS, and then there's also Washington, which is WIS. I don't know if they're international or not. And what I have found is, even though it's more time consuming for you to do it in-house, your actual inventory counts are better.
They are better. It's also, in my experience anyway, it's almost never been cost effective to do a fucking inventory, because especially in the bigger box stores, once you get it done, it only takes a handful of idiots to screw the entire system.
But you're right.
So, one person forgets to input a truck and you're screwed. You're screwed forever. It's until the next input.
So let me ask you, as far as like American brands there, do you have like TJ Maxx and Marshalls and Kohl's and that kind of stuff?
No is the short answer. We do. Very often they would run under a different name here. Like I'm pretty sure we've Home Depot here under a different name because it's the same branding. I think they have to just call themselves something else, But in general, we're more European and UK kind of influenced. We have a lot of our own indigenous stuff too, but not a huge amount of. It is a different landscape in terms of branding.
It is. Please let me know. I'm very curious. Is there an Irish Walmart?
No.
Wow.
There is not. No, I mean, we do have what you would call an Irish Walmart in this sense, but it's nothing to do with Walmart. the market's actually pretty balanced here in terms of big box. We have an indigenous Irish store that represents about 20% of the market, and then the good old Germanic influence stores have about 15 each. And the rest is just kind of missed. Tesco is here, for example.
Well, one thing I do want to throw out there, and because I just look at pictures because I'm scared to fly. The Irish landscape is beautiful. I just want to say that. I just want to put that out there.
Thank you. Well, look, I mean, listen, I mean, I've been coast to coast in the US, and you guys have a beautiful country. I mean, I do truly enjoy being in the US. It's a great country. But I mean, if I was to be honest, the one standout difference I felt when I was in the States, the employees on the ground are definitely pushed more to approach customers, and you won't be two steps in the door, someone walks up and just says, "Hey, can I help you?" It's like, Jesus Christ, I haven't even got my bearings yet,
Wow. So that is that much different than there?
Yeah, it would be the biggest kind of cultural difference that I've noticed. Is that we tend to let the customers settle. So and frankly, if I'm honest, it works better. You let the customers settle, and they gravitate over to something that they're looking at. You wait for them to scratch their head and look confused, and then you approach them, as opposed to approaching them off the bat, which just fucking annoys people, or annoy me anyway.
Oh, well, I agree. I would be a much more comfortable shopper in Ireland, evidently, because people start harassing me now. It's like, just leave me alone. I'm good, man. I'm good. If I need help, I'll ask.
But here we're graded on that.
Correct. And that brings up another question. Amanda, hold on.
I literally had a pop-up visit yesterday, and we got blasted because the split second they stepped foot in the door, somebody didn't scream at them, "Hey, how are you?"
So do you have
and
do you have secret shoppers, Irish Connection?
Yes, we do. And they actually, secret shoppers are almost exclusively temp workers that don't give a shit about the 2-day job that they just got. So it actually means nothing, really.
Oh, wow. Great.
Nice.
But yeah, Mad Dog is correct. We get graded on that. It's like if you don't approach a customer within do you guys ever hear in Ireland the 10-foot rule?
Actually, that's not something I'm familiar with.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So here's you some retail United States culture. Who wants to talk about the 10-foot rule? Go ahead. Somebody.
I will.
Go ahead.
So if you are within 10 feet of a customer, you are expected to speak to them. "Hey there, are you finding everything okay?" Your number one response is going to be, "I'm just looking."
Yep.
Fantastic. I don't care. I have to speak because I'm told I have to speak.
That helps prevent loss. That helps with
No,
loss
it does
prevention.
not.
No, it does
No,
not. That customer service bullshit to stop shoplifting, that is bullshit.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff doesn't wash with me, at least. Look, most of these kind of policies, procedures, and marketing strategies are thought up by people who are armchair generals. They have not been on the floor. And
100%.
Jesus.
We've got a few of ours here as well. Same type of thing. Although the 10-foot rule just wouldn't wash here. Irish culture is a bit different. You'll be told to fuck off pretty quick.
Hero, we got to move.
Ireland.
It's Hero. Pack up. We're going.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go up there.
Do you guys have customer surveys that are printed on your receipts where the customer gives feedback on the conditions of your store? Were you greeted? Could you find everything? Did you get assistance? Did somebody lick the floor? Do you have these asinine things that the customer is asked?
Yeah, we do. And usually it comes with some sort of an incentive, like you'll be entered into a draw for some other crap. But
you do the opposite here. You don't get an incentive. You just get yelled at when somebody complains about something that you have no control over.
That is correct.
Yeah. Oh no, I meant that the customer will be entered into a draw as an incentive to actually fill the thing out, because it's just not something that would be done. Like, don't get me wrong. If a customer has a problem and they're a bit of a Karen, they will probably raise it in store. And but like as you all know, like 80% of your complaints come from 20% of your customers. Like, so we kind of know which ones to ignore and which ones to take seriously, But in terms of like those things do exist. It is an American influence that we have here, and it's usually some bullshit company that's third party that dishes them out.
Well, it's one of those things too. Like you said, 80% of your complaints come from 20% of your customers. It would be a really valuable source of feedback if they weren't taken by, these are sent to people that are offsite, have no idea who your team is, have no idea the actual situation on the ground in your store. There's situations where one of the worst grades I got on one of these, external surveys was when I didn't, kind of what Mad Dog was touching on earlier. I didn't greet the customer within, at our store, it was 30 seconds of entering the door. And it was because and the customer noted it, I was literally laying on the ground, disassembling a piece of merchandise that I had just sold. And because of that particular grade, it affected the stores, the rest of the month. That's all they could talk about. And the situation on the ground, it's sent to someone who's not in your store, who doesn't know that we were down 2 people that day. I had the total staff of 7. So, that's pretty significant. It's sent to, it could be so valuable, but instead it's just used as leverage against store managers that they're not doing a good enough job.
100% correct.
Absolutely. So we have these surveys. It's a recent thing that we've paid an exorbitant amount of money to get this quote unquote useful data. So I've gotten all 5s, except for the fact that they leave a comment about why are we still requiring them to wear masks in the store, which A, doesn't have anything to do with me at store level, 2, doesn't actually have anything to do with the company. It's still state mandate.
Time out.
I get zero to that.
Continue your train.
Wait a minute.
No, continue your train of thought. You talk about the complaint. We're not going to go any further than like COVID and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. That's fine.
All right, cool.
But so even though I technically got the grade of 5, but because they left this negative comment, even though they gave me highly satisfied on everything, because I got a negative comment, it took me down to a 0.
Ooh.
Yes.
That sucks.
Yes. So some of the other complaints that we have gotten have been lack of merchandise. I have zero control over that.
But you get dinged on that.
We get dinged on that. The variety of merchandise, which I have been preaching for months now. Again, zero control over that. Marketing girl needs to get out from underneath the desk. So do the buyers. Get out from underneath the desk, get off your knees and do the job.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, and we know this. All of us here, we know this. Anything that corporate or distribution is responsible for, we're always going to take the blame. And that's why we had an episode a few weeks back talking about why the review process is bullshit, because you get graded on things you cannot control. And it is just another mechanism. Yeah, it's just another mechanism put in place to keep from increasing your pay. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
It's interesting because you talk about, like mechanisms put into place, so much. It's true, because so much of our performance is gauged by things like intangibles. How many good employees have you lost because they were slouching, or how many good employees do we lose because they're kind of railroaded,
right?
Out of where they work. I can think off the top of my head of 4 employees, and that's that's kind of 4 employees that had future management potential, just good quality people that were lost. One of them because, and I'm I'm quoting a former supervisor, so there's no currentness to it. But he looked too casual. He just looked too casual on the sales floor. So he was transferred to another store and railroaded out of the company.
And with that business, my God, look, do we really have to go into wear dress pants and dress shirts? I mean, seriously.
Right. I mean, it's true. It's a lot of, I think we're all going to kind of say the same thing in some ways where, it's kind of like you're set up to fail. And what makes you a good manager is that you overcome those obstacles.
I mean? I want to pose a question real quick.
I've had HR watching video and call me on my cell phone because I had an associate that was wearing a jacket over her uniform shirt.
Yeah, cameras are bad.
Because they made us hold the doors open.
Hey, Mad Dog.
So that nobody had to touch the doors.
Mad Dog, I got a great corporate watching camera story for you. You want to hear it?
Shoot.
So back when I worked for Jesus's Craft Store.
Oh boy, here we go.
Jesus's Craft Store, we were closed on Sundays, right? But our district manager was like, you're closed on Sunday, so you can bring in a team, save some payroll, and you can do these projects, and you can be ready to go by Monday. So at the time I worked for Jesus's Craft Store, one of the big selling points was, oh, you're off on Sundays. No, the fuck you weren't. The DM says go do this shit. So we worked probably during her reign 70% of the Sundays doing projects and stuff until they decided to start installing cameras. And it was hilarious because Jesus's Craft Store decided we're going to get cameras to transmit to heaven and we're going to put them in the stores. And they just assumed the stores were closed on Sunday. And then one random video, somebody catches a blip of somebody running to the trash compactor on a Sunday. And they're like, oh God, Jesus is pissed off. They're in the building working on Sunday. Jesus is going to strike us down kind of thing. And this memo comes out immediately the Monday following. That if you were found working on a Sunday, you would be terminated on the spot. Do you think the DMs took any accountability for that bullshit? Oh, hell no.
Well, my question is how did Jesus's disciple not know that was Jesus's day and that was the day that you rested? Because I'm pretty sure that when she became a disciple, she knew all the rules and regulations of working for Jesus's Craft
She
Store.
wasn't the only one. All the DMs are doing it. And, if we're going to be really, really particular about it, I'm probably going to hell just for the music I played on a boombox on Sundays at Jesus's Craft Store. So let's just put that out there right now.
I mean, that's not why you're going to go there, but we all got bus tickets. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
I've done worse.
I mean, I figure if I'm going, when I get there, I'll be like, hey, get out of my seat.
Correct.
Yeah,
I'm
I've done
driving.
just a little bit worse.
Anybody catch the irony in a corporate employee working and catching someone working? Yep, that's true. That's true. So that's amazing. Irish connection. This is kind of vendor specific. What's the music store scene like there? Do you have big stores, aka Guitar Center, or are they all independently owned music instrument stores? And can you get me a deal on a hurdy-gurdy?
They're all independently owned. They're few and far between. There's not many of them left. They're dying as quick as Blockbuster.
Oh, that's sad.
But they are independently owned in general. There's no big there's no big brands in it. I think it's organic, really. People that gravitate towards that kind of store don't want to walk into a fucking Starbucks type of situation.
Agreed. So
Hey now.
This is a little off the cuff, but I have to ask: is U2 really that fucking big there?
Yes.
Wow. Okay then. I'm glad you support the local boys. That's awesome. What other questions does everybody have?
All right. I have a couple.
Go ahead, Alex. I know you've been waiting, chomping at the bit.
Oh yeah.
Now, when you ask
Oh,
these, when you
yeah.
ask these questions, ask each one so you can get an answer from everybody.
Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna start with you on this one, Steve.
Oh shit.
Ass kissing employees. Do you find them annoying? Do you find them suspicious? Or is it just nice to have around?
Annoying because you know it and it pisses you off and you want to say naughty things that you know you'll get fired for saying and you try to blow it off. However, you did not broach the management theory on this. Can they get done for you what you need them to get done?
So you would say it's just nice to have around for that purpose?
No, I would not. It's not nice to have
Okay.
around because it's annoying as shit. It really is. It's terrible. It's like selling your soul out, and they're a retail whore. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a male manager or a female manager. They might just want to sleep with you just for the fact that they're kissing ass. It's terrible. It is awful. I hate it. But if they're a decent enough employee and get shit done for you, you tolerate it for a little bit. Pygmies,
Okay.
Stop that shit.
What about you, Irish Connection?
All right. Well, for the most part, it is annoying. There's usually some agenda there. You know, they want more hours, or they're insecure about how you feel about their work, or whatever the case would be. But absolutely, I took full fucking advantage of that. You know, because I looked at it as another opportunity for someone to be more productive in my store, and I gave them all the fucking shitty jobs that I knew that most employees wouldn't touch or wouldn't do well. And so it's exploitative. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I probably was the ass-kissing employee, and that's how I ended up with a fucking supervisor's job and then a management's job and so on. I got sucked into it. But in general, it's annoying but useful.
Okay.
Bingo.
To Ashton, I was absolutely about to ask Steve. I was about to be like, hey, Steve, would you consider me an ass-kissing employee?
I responded.
You
Ashton was
responded to
great.
Ashton, but not to me.
Ashton was great. Also,
I
if
love
you look
working with
there,
Ashton.
also if you guys are watching on Facebook, please hit the like button. We'd appreciate it. On the stream.
What about you, Mad Dog, on the question of ass-kissing employees? This is the response I
find them very, very suspicious.
find
Because
it suspicious.
I do. Because in my experience, the ones who try to kiss the most ass is because they're trying to stay the closest to find out everything you fucking know.
Okay.
So
Good point.
when they're doing their dirt, and when they're doing their shit, they want to find out if you know about it. And I don't trust them as far as I can throw them.
Ooh.
Shots fucking
That's-
fired.
And last, the writer. Ass-kissing employees.
I'm generally a little suspicious. I'm generally suspicious of anyone
Suspicious.
that throws flattery my way. I'm always a little bit wary of that. I think I'm a little bit kind of like the Irish Connection, though. I think I'm suspicious of it, so therefore I leverage it, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna try to test this a little bit, because if you're genuinely that into it, yeah, I'm gonna put you through a little bit more. If you genuinely think I'm just like the greatest thing ever, which again makes me immediately suspicious, I'm gonna make you work for it a little bit, and if you can persevere through that, then okay, I get it now. We're cool, but I'm generally yeah. So I guess I lie somewhere in between. I'm the not exciting opinion. Like I lie somewhere between the Irish Connection and Mad Dog. I'm suspicious, but and I'm going to make you work for it. But it generally, yeah, it's kind of nice to have around. You're having a rough day. You walk in, somebody tells you how great you are. I mean, come on. That's
good point. Good point. Well spoken.
Here's another reason that I get suspicious. So if they're kissing your ass, who else's ass are they kissing?
Everybody's.
Have they gone a step above? Right. So have they gone a step above you? And when you give them those shitty jobs, are they then going and saying, well, I got it done, but she always makes me go pull the poop out of the toilet. And she always it just makes me I just don't like them.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Next.
Steve, did you answer me if I was an ass-kissing employee or not? Because I was
Hold
writing
on.
down a couple of questions.
As a female, the men that try to stay close were usually trying to capitalize on their looks or flattery to get less work or better shifts. That was really annoying. No one is too nice or cute to work. You are correct, Kira. That is profound. Profound.
All right, the next question. This time we're going to start with the writer. I'm going to go in reverse.
going to build up to the fight.
And build up to Steve, because I already know Steve's answer on this.
Yo, you think so? All right.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
We went over it in a whole episode.
Oh, all right. I might change.
Auto scheduling tools.
Wait, repeat the question?
Auto schedule tools. Are you for, against, and what are the pros and cons?
Auto schedule tools. All right. I honestly, I never worked with them. I always wrote my own. I always manually wrote my own schedules. I would typically get a template together and just kind of let it ride. Now, I to be totally fair though, it sounds like I worked at a lot of independent retailers where the staff was a lot smaller. Not all the time, but in most cases, the staff was a lot smaller. So I didn't have the sort of revolving schedule. So again, I have like the least exciting answers of the group, but yeah, I guess I could see how they would be really shitty. So I'm going to say I'm against them, but only by association.
Okay. So you would rather just write out your own schedules.
I mean, I prefer it. It's time consuming, but I think.
But it'll get done properly.
Well, yeah, I know it'll get done properly, and also like it gives you a chance to kind of like test out your staff a little bit. Like if Tuesday night is like your biggest night, you know what I mean? Like try to put someone else on there, see if you actually have someone that's worth their salt. You know what I mean? It gives you a little bit more, a little more investment. You know what I mean in your team.
All right, Mad Dog.
Oh, they're complete and total trash. Complete and total.
In 5 minutes or less, because I got a lot of questions to ask you.
I mean, the whole thing is that you spend money on a program that never fucking works.
Time out.
The algorithm
Time out.
works.
Time out. Chronos. Thank you, Kira. So,
Trash.
Mad Dog is familiar with Chronos, but the Chronos that her and I used was half-baked and wasn't the Chronos that you and I used, Kira. It would have made it a whole lot easier if it had been.
Never worked.
No.
And even though you had what their job title was, what their availability was, if they were full-time or part-time, it would schedule them some crazy-ass hours. It would schedule them outside of their availability.
I emailed the head person out there in Texas that was over that shit. And when they responded to me that I knew more about it than they did, I quit sending emails. It was broken, and it was never going to be fixed.
Correct. Okay, I'm
right.
done commenting now.
All right, the Irish Connection. Are you for, against, pros and cons, auto scheduling?
Well, I don't want to steal too much of what Steve is about to say, I think.
Oh, nice.
So I'll leave it up to him to elaborate. I am against, and I'll only add that I've never worked for a company that had sufficient fucking IT capacity to make it work. It usually was pumped into a system that was built in the 80s, or it was emailed to you through some fucking portal that just wasn't built to make sense. So that's my frustration with. Oh, I will add that it's not really used here. It's only used by one or two big box stores, and it basically doesn't work because you make so many fucking adjustments to it after the fact that it may as well have been done manually.
Okay. Steve, brief summary, go.
All right. So auto scheduling in theory sounds fantastic, but there is no way any software can be made that accurately represents each and every individual building. Number one, you're given, certain parameters to do. Now, I don't know how everybody else here does, but if you're going to properly write a retail schedule, does anybody know what the first day of the week you should schedule is?
Saturday.
Thank you. You schedule from Saturday backwards. And there is no fucking auto scheduler out there that allows you to do such a fucking thing.
They'll give you 100 hours on Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yes.
and Thursday, and 37 on
and what
Saturday.
happens is with an auto scheduler, you're only allowed to edit so much. And when you edit to make sense, you get a phone call. Why aren't you using the software? Because the software sucks. Because it's not programmed worth a fuck, and it doesn't take any real world situations into account. Period. End of story. And I hate it. I will say this, Russell. What was that? Compass. Compass did a far better job than any other automated payroll system I've ever seen. Just because what they spit out was a suggestion and you could edit it at will without any penalty. Kronos, that is some bullshit. All right. The last big box retailer I worked at that had it, I was like, well, you should be able to change their classification. Maybe this person that's a cashier one day is going to be in the stock room or whatnot. And the prior version of Kronos I used, you could do that. So I call up corporate and I'm like, hey, why is this? Oh, we're still rolling it out. We'll get to that eventually. The best we can tell you to do is edit it. You paid all this fucking money for a half-baked version that doesn't even fucking work? Just give us a piece of paper and let's write it down.
All right, Steve. Like I say, we got a lot of questions.
Let's go.
All right. This time, start with Mad Dog. I cannot wait for Mad Dog's response on this one.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, boy. Mad Dog, why do managers set hook on the ones most like them? Is it a game or is it 100% genuine?
Repeat that question. That did not make any sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Why do managers set hook on the ones most like them, aka like the employees that are sort of like the same personality type?
Do you mean gravitate towards?
Yes. Okay. Like, why do they favorite those?
Favorite.
You could
All
say.
right, cool. Gotcha.
Is it a game or is it 100% genuine?
It's 100% genuine, because if there is somebody that has the same personality type that I have, like for the fact that my brain works like Tetris, and I can see that if you to get to here, to get to there, that's eventually going to get me to here. And all I have to do is say, do this to do that, and leave them alone. I don't have to worry about it because we're on the same word. We're not we're there. I don't have to worry about it. That's why.
Okay. What about you, Irish Connection?
I would 100% agree with that. I don't have to figure out how their mind works and then translate it into words they understand. So, I mean, if someone gets me and I get them kind of organically, then that just works. It's much more frustrating when I have to try and figure out how to get someone to understand something.
What about you, the writer?
Yeah, I guess I'd agree with that. I think it's easier to know that you can give someone a task and then just know that it'll get done the way that you want it to get done. It's sort of like, sometimes I would only say it's a game because you put that person in a position, or you deliberately give that person tasks, the more desirable tasks, and then is to set an example in terms of how you want it done. And then what eventually happens is the team members that you don't trust see they're getting the more desirable tasks. You see that they're starting to kind of, move along, and that way, eventually you get everybody to follow suit. At least that's what you hope happens. So I'd only say it's a game for that.
How many times have you said, I just wish there was another one of me so I could get all this stuff done? If you've got that same brain, put them on the other side of the store. Y'all meet in the middle. You're golden.
I'm just going to say, before I ask Steve this question, if you look at my video feed and you look at his, we're kind of like living, breathing proof that can be a thing. Because, I mean, me and Steve thought almost exactly alike, would have ridiculously long conversations while at work. I made that God tier Wii U thing.
Yeah, but you also got keys stolen, but we're not going to get that.
Hey, I didn't want to talk about that. But
all right, just saying.
Hey,
nobody's perfect, bro.
You've made some mistakes in your younger years too.
A whole fucking lot.
Which wasn't 100 years ago, but that's besides the point.
Yep, stone tablets.
So Steve, do you want to elaborate on that any further? Or?
Yes. First of all, I want to acknowledge Ashton Taylor. Steve, I got out of retail thanks to you. Our smoke breaks were like mini versions of this podcast. You drop 5-minute truth bombs all day. Good dude. Irish Connection, he's made a very brilliant point so far about how you get in, and I've made this comment on Reddit. It's kind of like the Roach Motel. Once you get in, you could check in, but you can't check out. And anybody that I could ever help get out and do something better is great, because this is not a path people want to take, because it makes you a really shitty, angry person. My wife will tell you, and she can say here in the chat, I don't care, that I'm a much different person now than the day she met me. And it's because of retail. And it's not a good thing. I'm kind of like a recovering retail addict at the moment, so I'm trying to work my way down. But for many years, it was bullshit. Now, as far as your question, Alex.
He says that makes a retail podcast.
So, yeah. So, well, hey, I toyed with this in 2014. So, you were the wind beneath my wings, Alex. If you would not have agreed to come along, I may not have done this. But anyway, as far as employees that are like you and gravitate, Alex, you bring up a good point. You were. Mm-hmm. James was. Oh, Ashton God. Was. and you, I'm not talking 100% like identical. I'm talking about enough that you could describe what you wanted done and you didn't have to worry.
I do got to say, James did put together a planogram completely in reverse.
Oh, holy shit. Hold up. Newsflash. Mad Dog. Bill came the other day, Russell. How did that go? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Anyway, but going back to what the question was.
Well, it says he wasn't impressed, and I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I think you leverage people that think like you. And the reason I say that is because as a manager, look, let's be honest here. As a manager, you're looking for people to make your job easier. That's just what we do. That's what we're paid for, okay? We're paid to, quote unquote, delegate. So when we find people that we don't have to spend hours upon hours drawing pictures and saying this has to be done a certain way, you automatically get it. You gain favor. You become the go-to. And Alex, you were a go-to. I mean, you really were. Number one, because you had the spunk in you to want to succeed. All right? You wanted to do well. I credit your parents for that. You would not have that if it was not for how you were raised. And that's something that's missed a lot in retail. A lot of people's work ethic comes down to how their parents raised them. Your parents raised you right. You
Yes.
Yeah, you were respectful. You did everything we asked you to do. You did it on point. If you had questions you would ask, you did great. And, you know, we gravitated towards you. Nando was another one.
Hi, feed.
You're good. You're back in. And your whole job as a manager is to find people in your building to make the business run efficiently. And when you find people, and it's usually multiples, it's usually not just one or two, you usually can find 3 or 4 that work on the same wavelength. Once you bring that group together, it's kind of like the Avengers of retail.
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever you need to do.
Okay.
I mean, those people are your lucky charms in the box of cardboard cereal. Like, when you find them, you want to build them.
I don't know if they're magically delicious or all, but still.
Hey,
Well,
Steve, I'm just going to step away just 1 second,
All right.
and then I'll finish up the questions.
Cool. But you're right. And I mean, I think everybody here on our panel would agree. It's our jobs to seek out the people in the building that can make the job the most efficient, because we understand as managers that the people that make it the most efficient make all of our lives easier. You know, we still stay up at night, but it's not as bad. Irish Connection, would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, in general, I would. I mean, there's nothing more kind of frustrating than giving people kind of jobs and instructions and then coming back an hour later and seeing it done completely the other way around. You know?
Right. And you know, since Alex has a list of questions, so why he's not here, I will share something that I was taught many years ago, and it kind of goes hand in hand with finding the people that are on your brain level. I remember one time being told, all right, so you send somebody out to build an end cap. They build said end cap with said product you asked them to do. And it looks like shit. But you just walk by it and you don't say anything. So what you've done at that point in time is you've taught that associate that that is acceptable. And, you know, where you grow as a leader is you go back and you say, hey, you know what? This doesn't look terrible, but maybe you should do this and do this to make it like such and such. And then you cultivate and grow them. And what I think is out there a lot right now are managers that walk past that end cap and tell them to go do something else. And those same managers are exactly the ones that will say, when their boss comes in and says, why does this end cap look like shit? They're going to say, this associate did it.
All right, Steve. All right, we're going to go ahead and get to the next question.
All right.
Because first off, I want to thank all of y'all who's been here. This has been our longest stream.
This has been
thanks for
great.
hanging with us.
I enjoy it.
This
Thank you, guys.
has been great. I've been enjoying every second. Thank you so much, the writer, Mad Dog, and the Irish Connection.
Happy
Y'all need to come on the show more often.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to do a game show live. I'll let you know when I get it, because it's going to happen.
Oh yeah, that's actually something I really.
It's going to be like the Retail Warzone squares instead of Hollywood squares.
Nice.
Oh, we just do like a whole like Jeopardy-esque thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'll take angry customers for 200.
I'll take Karens for 1,000.
But y'all have been great
And then we
tonight.
just tell our worst Karen story.
Y'all have been great tonight. If y'all need to like take a 5-minute break, me and Steve will just carry it for 5 minutes.
And hey, you guys, anybody you have in your surrounding universe that you'd like to have on too, bring them on. I mean, Alex and I have been doing this for a few weeks. We get kind of long in the tooth and whatnot. We love having you guys on. I just think it's better. I think it's better to have more aspects and more feedback and more experiences from more places, because it kind of pushes what, at least for me, I'm trying to do. And what I'm trying to do is expose how shitty the business really is. And by being managers, we can give associates insight as to why things happen the way they are. And maybe instead of them being mad at the managers, they can be mad at the company.
This next question has my vote to win the $20 question. All right. I just got to go ahead and say it. So this is going to be like real for y'all. Really keep this declassified. Starting with the Mad Dog. Do you run off unwanted employees or just fire them? If so, how? Do you give them a shit schedule? Do you cut their hours? Or do you get on their case?
Ooh.
So, unfortunately, we have this little bullshit called HR. So, regardless of the fact that the state that I live in is an at-will state, I do not have the ability to just fire them on the spot. But that is when every single little fart gets a write-up. Oh, you were 1 minute late? Guess what? We don't have a grace period. It's a write-up.
So you're saying for that employee in specific, like the one that you don't want around anymore, is it a personal reason that you don't want them around, or are they just like that shit of an employee?
With the exception of one person that is currently in my universe, none of it is personal. None of it is personal. Because here's the thing. I compartmentalize every aspect of my life. Okay? So when I'm at work, I'm at work. I don't want to hear your bullshit. I don't care about your boyfriend. I don't care about your mama's dog's cousin's, like, third baby daddy. I don't give a fuck. When you're at work, you're on my time, and I expect you to be physically and mentally present in my building. So if it's to the point where, like, you can't do the basics of asking for the email, asking for the surveys, counting your till correctly, cleaning up around the register like you're asked to do every fucking day, I don't need you.
Steve is chomping at the bit.
I do not need you anymore because you are not contributing anything. And honest to God, you are making my life worse because you are definitely not the person who's on the same brain level as I am. And I'm having to stop what I'm doing every 5 minutes to say, I need you to go pick that up. And then I have to come back and say, see that thing that was beside the thing you just picked up? You got to pick that one up too.
So imagine if you came, because see, I need a manager like you at my job, 100%. But imagine having like 40 guys on the clock at the same time that we do the same thing every day. And they still don't comprehend how to do it. Oh boy. Because that even annoys me.
I would be that person that can say something to them with a completely straight face and make them feel probably about 3 inches tall.
Okay. All right. Bold
and
words.
You will either go up and do the job or you will go cry in a corner and I don't fucking need you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh boy. This is fucking great.
I agree. Sometimes it feels like raising children, but they're grown ass.
Oh boy.
And this is grown up real world stuff. Like, I understand that to a lot of people, these are part-time jobs, but guess what? These part-time paychecks pay your bills.
Exactly.
So,
all right, I'm gonna have to cut you there, Mad Dog, because we only got like 30 more minutes of runtime. Irish Connection, hit me.
All right.
Oh, love that. I love the laugh at the beginning. I am scared.
So let's go.
All right. Look, the first thing I'll say is from a practical point of view, the bigger the store, the easier this is. Not just because you have more employees, but it's, you usually had things that you could throw at them to make them leave easier. The other thing, too, is that I really do care about the team in general. I understand that not everyone comes with the same skill set. If you put me in the wrong, look, okay, I'll tell you what, I spent a very, very, very brief time in my life as a barman. I was the worst fucking barman you ever came across, right? I I didn't have it in me. I just couldn't do it. It wasn't a job for me. But if I took that experience when I was young, I was probably not old enough to drink, and ran with that, I wouldn't even have applied for a second job, you know? So I try and keep that in mind with the employees. So it comes down to attitude. If you suck at your job because of a bad attitude, then fuck you. I don't care. I will run you out the door as quick as I. But if you are trying, I will try and find the best thing for you in the store. Okay?
Okay.
However, there is a cutoff point. Sometimes, and especially in the big box stores, you got to reach certain productivities and your hands are tied. But in general, I do care about the team, and I try to match the team member, if you like, to the right job. I try. I don't always do it, but I try.
Some y'all guys got me cracking up over in chat over there. This is the walkway. We don't put things here, hun. Pick it off the floor, hun. Thanks. No, addicts, you need motivation. Not I gotta work longer because you don't. You sign. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's how these people are. All right, Ryder.
I'm the so I guess I'm the optimist of the group. Typically,
So you try to stick it through, and you try just to see the light at the end of the tunnel for him.
So here's the thing: is that I'm of the opinion that, you know, if you, as a manager, set expectations and you have the sort of core group, you don't need everybody on your team. You don't need everybody on your team speaking the same language. You just need a core group. And if you have that core group, somebody who comes in with a bad attitude is going to stick out like pretty easily. It's almost like they convince themselves they don't want to work there. Mm-hmm. So, I'm of the opinion that just fire someone. That creates uncertainty, and uncertainty is not good for a team.
Right.
If you run someone off, everyone, you know, your team members see that. You know, sometimes I don't think we as managers, and, you know, I'm just speaking from my experience, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes we give them just the right amount of credit. But sometimes we don't give them employees enough credit to see when we're clearly running someone off. And then, you know, and that negatively really affects a team. So I think I'm of the opinion where I would almost rather convince someone they don't want to work there and let them do it themselves. You know, if they have a shitty attitude, or if they're, you know, refusing to do basic tasks, I mean, that's just going to stick out so badly that they're not going to want to work there. And if they, you know, and yeah, of course, there's been many points, and Steve, you've been there for some of these, well, maybe one of these with me, where, yeah, it's pretty clear, cut and dry. Like, you got to go. Mm-hmm. But I would rather, I feel like I'm not doing my job if I don't exhaust, you know, if I don't exhaust my options, like, to try to, like, find a way to make it work. But yeah, so I'm kind of maybe on the, I'm very concerned about the team when they see you run someone off, or they see you just up and fire somebody. I think sometimes that has more of a negative effect, a ripple effect.
Okay.
On the team.
All right. And last but not least, Steve.
All right. So I think
you got at least 3 minutes, right, Steve.
I'm very much like Irish Connection, and I'm very much like what Kira has just said here. Believe it or not, one of the biggest lessons I ever learned was working for the guitar store, the big guitar store, not some little small one. And the mantra was no man left behind. And what that meant was find what your people are good at and let them be good at it. So the job market is very confusing. The job market is very thin. So you may have somebody that you hire to be a cashier, and they are a shitty cashier, and they have a shitty attitude because they know they're a shitty cashier. So one of the first things that managers do is like, oh, well, they suck, I'm going to fire them. Look, getting good people is hard. So before you run that person off or write them off, get with them and find out if there's something else they would rather do. Where else can they serve you in your business that they'll be happy, you'll be happy, you've got an employee who's bought in, you don't have to replace a body. You got to remember, a lot of people are applying for jobs just for the sake of applying for jobs, just so they can have an employment. That does not mean that they suck all the way around. Now, mind you, when you exhaust those options, like the writer said, you may hit that impasse where they just don't work out for you. But I think most managers and most retailers are immediately a one and done. And that's bullshit. Because that person can do something for you that you need, and you just ran them off. So,
well, Steve, the only thing harder than getting good people is getting good people to stay.
Correct. And that's where it comes down to being a leader, is knowing your people. Sure, it's a crapshoot every time you hire somebody. You just don't know. They could interview like they could be the CEO of fucking Google. But in the real world, they can barely put the round ball into the round hole. But you hired them, so you owe it to yourself to find something they can do for you. Kira says, I was told to hire someone rather than hire someone that fits the position. It was rush, rush, rush. You're not hiring enough people, and that's when things get fucked up. You're right. Hire someone and find what they're good at, because statistically speaking, not all employees suck. Statistically speaking, most managers suck at placing employees in the jobs that they're doing. So there you go, Alex.
But see, when you only have 10 people on staff and they have to be able to basically do everything. And when I say do everything, that means run a register and pick shit up off the floor and put it back on the shelf. And you can't handle that.
That's different. Maintenance is different. I'm talking about core job responsibility. Maintenance is different. Look, if you got somebody who can't pick something up off the floor and put it back, then they suck. I mean, it's just.
I mean, I promise you, I'm not doing rocket surgery at my current location.
Hero 130 says it perfectly, and I know this from 30 years. I am fucking fantastic at managing the island of misfit toys, because I understand how much money it costs the company I work for to keep turning people over. I understand that I've got to find somebody to fit some role for me. And unfortunately, in jobs like that you have, Mad Dog, the expectation's way higher than the talent base is ever going to be. Okay? It just is. All right? But you are also correct. If you bring somebody in and they can't pick something up off the floor, then they suck. There's no saving them. There still is, expectations they have to hit. And those are minimum job requirements. And that's for everybody.
The basics.
Right.
The basics.
If you can't get the basics, then you get to go. But the difference is, what I'm talking about is you hire somebody to be a cashier and they're a shitty cashier and you're going to go fire them. Well, maybe they're a great stalker.
Well, it's
all right.
I kind of feel. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead,
no, go
Ryder.
ahead.
Well, I mean, I kind of feel a little bit like it's incumbent on us sometimes, to, especially if you work in a small to mid-sized company. Like I was talking about earlier, I've lost good employees for dumb reasons. I've lost good employees for bad reasons. Some of them in my control and most of them not. I think sometimes it's incumbent on us as managers to reallocate people to jobs that fit them better, or to positions that fit them better, or
100%.
hours that fit them better. If you've got a guy that, doesn't, or a guy or girl that doesn't, they show up to work on, and they're clearly sluggish in the morning, you know what? Like, put them on the evening shift. If they, it couldn't be as simple as that. It can be as simple as.
It could be as simple as that. When you enter somebody and you ask them what their availability is, and you have 4 people for the entire day, and you are scheduling them based on their availability, you don't always have that option to accommodate the fact that they can't take their ass to bed at night, or to accommodate the fact that they can't figure out if they leave 5 minutes earlier for work that they will be on time.
You're right, but we're talking about 2 different kinds of employees here. you're talking about the typical. And in our market, Mad Dog, you are 100% correct. That is the typical. The other flip side of it is the rarity. And
I'm talking about. When they get there, like,
right.
I guess there's an assumption here that like there's a baseline employee. We can. This podcast could be 5 hours if we talk about the people. If we only talk about
Christ,
people
yes.
that don't show up or show up hungover or miss work entirely. I mean, that's a whole nother class of employee. I think and they're not worth really wasting that level of oxygen on. I guess what I'm talking about is more when you hit that baseline. Okay, you show up. Okay, you can perform basic human motor skills. From that point, it's like what do we? It's incumbent on us. I feel like sometimes to kind of, and that's what's unfair about it. We're holding up the weight of ownership while dragging the weight of the employee.
Very well put. And
right.
yes, that makes sense.
All right, Steve.
Oh God.
All right. We're going to move on to another question.
Let's hear it.
All right. And this time, I'm going to start with you, Steve.
Oh, fuck.
So that way I can shut you down like 3 minutes into it. As I feel bad, I've shut Mad Dog off so many times.
Hey, man, I'm passionate about this shit, but it is what it is. Let's go. Let's hear it.
Oh, I can tell
As
she's
am I.
very passionate. And I love to hear all this insight into these questions. And I want to thank y'all for these questions. Steve, what would you really like to be able to ask during an interview?
Really? This is a question?
Well, this is a question. None of that bullshit of...
Okay, let me ask. Am I interviewing for a store manager position?
No, you're interviewing me. I'm coming to work for you. You don't know me.
All right. So you need to clarify.
You're interviewing somebody. You're not being interviewed.
Okay, I'm interviewing somebody. What's the question that I won't ask that I can't?
You're interviewing somebody. You're just the manager.
Mm-hmm.
And you're hiring a basic entry-level part-time position.
Right.
I feel like I already know what Mad Dog's answer is, and it's going to be
hold up. I'm looking. So, are you asking me something that I won't ask that I normally cannot?
Yes. If you could take all the corporate bullshit.
Will you actually show up for fucking work?
In those exact words.
Yes. Next question.
All right. Well, all right. We got him on a minute on that. Irish connection. Oh, yes. I love hearing the laugh. It always makes me so happy.
I mean, something that I'm not legally allowed to ask. Do you think it's a good fucking idea to sleep with someone at work? Because I've run into a lot of fucking problems with employees.
He wins. Thread over. Good night.
Don't do it. The amount of awkward situations and rescheduling I had to do because of that mistake, because don't. So that's the question. Do you think it's a good idea to sleep with someone working with you? Okay.
That's an interesting. I couldn't imagine going to my interview and all of a sudden just seeing someone lean forward. You think it'd be a good idea to sleep with someone at work? I'd be like, you know what?
Well, yeah, there's a reason that question is illegal.
Respect. The writer. What is your question?
I was thinking the whole time, like, what question would I like to ask?
I just think back to when you was in interviews, like, what's the one thing? Because I actually got asked a strange question, and it was, do you play Xbox or PlayStation? And I was like, what? What does that have to do with a job interview?
I would probably ask, why did you leave your last job?
They're going to lie to you, though.
What's that?
They're going to lie to you, though.
Well, yeah, but how are they going to lie to me?
That's true. It could be.
I mean, I can look at a resume and see if you were only there for 3 months, you didn't quit to come interview at my retail store for a better opportunity.
You quit because either you hated it there or.
Yeah, nine times out of 10, like for me, like the resume resume, if they have one, the resume tells me a lot more about the candidate than they think it does. You know, people think
that's hard right now because a lot of people lost their jobs due to COVID. So that is going to be a blanket excuse for the next couple years.
Well, I mean, we
sure.
can throw 2020 and 2021 in the trash. So let's just eliminate that and use prior.
In a vacuum, because I mean, towards the end of my retail experience was like first wave of COVID. But when I was in retail pre-COVID, one of the things that I would like to ask is, why did you leave your last job? Because I mean, if you're there for very few people interview for an entry-level retail job as a better opportunity than where they were.
Hey, so let me ask you, when you asked that question, what would your response be if they said, because I could?
What would my response be?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming in for the interview.
Be like, the exits down the hallway, last door left.
Well done.
You know, I mean, the thing is people will gladly, when they walk into an interview, they'll tell you what you want to hear. You'd be surprised how many people forget what they put on their resume, or they don't think about what they put on their resume, and so
or even know what's on their resume because they paid somebody to write it for them.
Well, that's also true.
All right, now, chat. The moment you've all been waiting for.
Oh, shit.
The Mad Dog. Lay it on me.
Like, the question that I would want to ask that I'm not legally allowed to ask is like, do you fucking understand that the schedule that you're given, that means that's what time you're supposed to be there?
Oh,
and
my
then
God.
that's what you're supposed to fucking leave. Like, if you're scheduled 11 to 5, that means on the floor ready to work at 11, and then you don't leave until 5 o'clock. That doesn't mean at 3:30 because your boo called and you gonna go get your hair did that you can take the fuck off. No. Do you understand that your schedule is the time that you are supposed to work?
And it's not come in and get your
when
stuff.
the hell you feel like it.
Not come in, you work 11 to 5, you come in at 11, go to your locker room, get you a drink.
I got a manager that does that and I want to
Jesus Christ.
30 fucking minutes.
Oh boy.
From she walks in the door until she's actually ready to fucking do work. And I'm like, do you know how much money you are costing me for you to go to the break room and put your lunch up, then go put your purse up, then go tinkle, then blow your nose, then remember that you forgot something in the car.
Or the fucking assholes that clock in and eat breakfast before they get on the floor.
Oh my God. Or we got some of those in my work.
Like, I really just would want to ask them that, like, do you understand that having a job means that you have to work? Like, seriously, that's having a job means you have to work.
Oh. Oh, God. Lamau.
Yep.
All right. Think we got time for one or two more questions.
Hey, real quick, before you get into your questions, this is something I've been meaning to ask. From a loss prevention standpoint, Irish Connection, how do you guys go about apprehensions and stuff like that? Are you guys allowed to chase people out of the building, or do you use private contractors and cops to do that?
Okay, well, the way that the law is set up here, there's such a disincentive to chase someone down, because if you happen to be wrong, you are screwed. So, for instance, one of the big box stores that I worked in about maybe 10 years ago, one gentleman was held back by our security guards and accused of shoplifting. It just so happens he was not. They were mistaken, and he sued them for 50 grand, and 2 security guards lost their job. So the court system over here does not like, I suppose, I'm not sure what the equivalent is in the States, but basically defamation. You know, they do not want someone falsely accused. So basically, the easiest thing to do here, let it out, and then review the footage. If you are correct, hand it over to the authorities, and if they could give enough of a fuck, they'll do something about it.
Now, when you say give enough of a fuck, is there a certain dollar amount that they'll just look at you and laugh and say, we're not fucking with that?
Well, yeah, there is in general. I mean, like, you have to, when you pick up that phone to make that call, you have to remember there is another person at the end of that phone with another shitty job. I wouldn't want to be a cop. That, you know, are you really going to send them on this errand to chase down someone because they sold 2 chicken fillet fucking rolls or something like that? No.
Right.
You know, because, but it does depend on the actual enforcement officers themselves. But generally speaking, there isn't a said dollar amount, but you have to have a good relationship with the local law enforcement and kind of know, feel them out. Because look, for the most part, they're going to know. They'll know exactly who it is in the footage because, you know, thieves tend to be well known to law enforcement. Like it's unusual that they wouldn't know.
Right. All right, cool. All right, Alex, go ahead.
Okay. Starting with Irish Connection. Is it better to get someone as their first job or a veteran worker?
Oh, depend on what they were a veteran worker in. Are you talking about a veteran worker in retail?
It would be in retail in general, yes, but you would have to pay them a little bit more, or you could get like 3 people for their first job for the price of this one. That's just a little prop bet to that.
Okay. Well, look, I actually do find it a little bit easier to mold people from a blank slate than to change old habits. So I'd probably go with the younglings, if you like.
The young gunners.
Younglings.
Yeah. Well, it's just, look, you know, there are certain things you can try so many things out, but if someone is stuck in their ways or they've been like the amount of times I've heard people say, "Oh, I've been doing it this way for 15 fucking years" or whatever. You know, I mean, that is really hard to work out of somebody. So you really have to work around them as opposed to with them. Where with the young guys, you can kind of put a bit more of a, you know, you put your drill sergeant stuff on and you kind of see what they got, you know. So I would go with the blank slates myself.
Okay. That's kind of how I feel on that subject. I think I would rather try to train someone new. That's just me personally. Mad Dog, go.
Mad Dog, you there?
Seems like Mad Dog is taking a break.
Might have lost her.
No, my bad. I'm dealing with some BS from the job.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my.
Real time.
Yeah.
Real time.
Like, how are you going to text me at 10 o'clock at night that you're going to be an hour late to work tomorrow and you don't come in till 1:30? For what?
Hell.
For what?
Wow.
Right.
That's not anybody
For
I
what?
know, is it?
No.
Okay, thank God.
No, this is that body that I was going to tell you about earlier who tells people her dad and brother used to make her drink antifreeze and she used to work in a meth lab, so her brain's messed up. She tells people this.
Okay. America.
Right, so anyway,
Welcome
did
to
you get to hear
Greenville.
the question, or do I need
I
to?
did. So I'm 100% getting a virgin because I am not breaking any bad habits. And here's another thing too, with the fact that I have worked in big box, boutique, all of these different types of retails. Every company does things so different that even if a lot of times if they think that they have a retail background, it's not what said new company is looking for. So you are constantly breaking bad habits. You are, well, when I was at so-and-so, guess what, boo-boo? You're not at so-and-so anymore. You at Ding Dong over here. So
You at Ding
I don't
Dong
care
over here.
I don't care what you did at so-and-so. That's done and over with.
Okay. All right, Steve. Because I'm giving the writer the main event slot on this one. and then we're gonna vote on the best question.
All right. So my experience has been, it's really job specific. The writer can kind of understand where I'm coming from here. If you're in a sales-based position, it's not a good idea to hire somebody green. You want to hire somebody that's got some sales chops. You just do. Even though they might have came from a different organization or a different company or whatnot, the principle of selling itself, which, just to throw that out here, selling is the transference of enthusiasm. You're not going to get that out of somebody green out of the gate. You're just not. They're going to be terrified. But in regular retail, it's still job specific. So my trajectory and what I've done in my career, I've got to say, I've been far more successful hiring experienced people for specific roles than hiring somebody new. But that may come from doing this for 30 years and knowing exactly what I'm looking for. So it's not to say that everybody else is incorrect. Maybe I just know what I need and know the things that these people need to say that trigger me to realize they know what the fuck they're talking about. Because I will be honest with you, every job I've had probably the past 6 to 8 years, the little checklist of bullshit they give you to ask somebody in an interview, I don't do it. And I tell the people I'm interviewing I'm not doing it. Let's just talk. And that's what makes me a little different from some people, because I'm just the outlier there. But I feel like you get more honesty when you have a general conversation instead of sitting there going, saying, oh, well, what was the last time you did something you felt accomplished? Or when was the last time you felt proud about such and such? That's a horse shit. That doesn't get you fucking anywhere, because people go online and study that shit and give you a rehearsed answer. When you talk real world, then you're going to know who you're dealing with. So for me, I take the experienced person.
Well, see, Steve, it's really
Interesting.
funny that you say that that's how you interview, because that's what I do. And kind of going back to the previous question, that's when they tend to tell on themselves a lot.
Correct.
When you're just having a conversation.
Right.
That's when, you know, because I'm like, hey, just tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, all of a sudden, oh, I'm 23. I got 3 babies.
They sputter.
And and then they start telling on themselves of all this stuff, and then you're going, so then they've given you this laundry list of their life, and then you say, oh, what's your availability? Oh, I'm open. Oh, really? Well, what you gonna do with these 3 babies?
Well, the bigger trick there is to know when to exit and know how to end the interview and say, well, you know, I've got several other interviews to do, and what I'll do is I'll give you a call back when we're done at the end of the week, and da-da-da-da-da. And
100%.
Yeah.
That is my go-to line.
Yeah, but if you follow that checklist that these retailers give you, the people trying to come get a job, they've researched on how to pass a job interview. So
100%.
So they know those answers. Fuck those. I throw that shit
100%.
away. Fuck that. I hate that.
All right. Last but not least, the writer.
I tend to I like the idea of new employees, but I'm going to go with the experienced employees. Yeah, I think
We went 50-50 here. Nice.
I kind of think, to be honest with you, you know, I welcome certain kinds of dissent. You know what I mean? I welcome the idea that I don't know everything, and I like the idea that someone could come in, and as much as I can, if I can give them a few inches, you know what I mean? If they do something I don't like, I've had multiple employees, and Steve has worked with a few of those employees that I didn't personally care for. I didn't care for their work style. I didn't care for the, you know, whatever, right? But
that goes vice versa. I've had many managers that I've just...
Well, yeah, but they do something particularly well, or they do something that maybe I know I can't do well.
Mhm.
Right.
And the experienced people tend to, there's more of that with experienced people than there is with newer folks. So I think I tend to prefer experienced folks, and then whatever I do, I just set the ground rules early on. Like, look, whatever I'm doing here, I'm your example. You don't have to do everything I do. Just use me as your framework, and then everything else is all you.
Okay. All right. Good answer. Good answers. It's interesting that y'all went 50-50 on that question. I very much enjoy that insight. Me personally, if I was a manager, I would go with a new one. I like taking risk. But that's just me. Anywho. Out of those questions, if y'all need me to reread them again, I will.
Hold up. Before we go through the list of questions, is there anybody out there in chat land that has a question that hasn't been asked yet?
Yeah, sure. Because, there's $20 on the line here. That's $20.
Now, there, like Alex kind of mentioned at the beginning, and there are rules. You either have to be a follower on Twitch, a subscriber on YouTube, or a follower on Facebook. So anybody out there got any questions for any of the panel tonight that's not myself and Alex that you would like answered before Alex goes into the decision-making process?
Anyways, we're going to give that about 2 more minutes to let the stream delay catch up. Because we are sitting at 2 hours. We're at our longest stream we've ever done.
I do want to say that Irish Connection, Mad Dog, and the Rider, I have enjoyed this greatly. Thank you so much for being here. I want to do this again. I do not. This is not a one and done. My entire goal for this channel is to get more people involved, and the more voices, the better. So thank each and every one of you, especially Irish Connection, because what is it right now over there in your time? What, about 1?
2.
Yeah.
Sorry I was late my first day.
You are good.
Hey, man,
You're good.
there's no job reviews here. You're good, bro.
And we're not like retail. You was 5 minutes late. Oh, my God.
All right, Alex, go ahead and do your spill.
No, your salary. You don't have to clock in and out.
That's right. You're on the clock 24 hours a day, fucker.
It's one thing I can say. I do just want to take one more, and we can just blitz this one real quick. Your time going into it. How was your time going into retail? Or into management? Starting with Steve.
I'm confused. One more time.
All right. Let's what Russell's on ask.
So your time going into it, what do you mean?
Like, how much time have you put into it? I'm assuming.
I don't think that.
Because I know yours is like 200 years.
That's not a question though. I mean, it's how many hours have I put into it?
Yeah.
More than humanly.
More than healthy people should.
Yeah, more than humanly acceptable. I mean, look, if you want to go into just my career, when I worked for Jesus Craft Store, I think I went like 70 days without a day off because my co-manager got fired and they couldn't hire anybody. 70 days. All right.
Oof.
At Jesus's Craft Store, we had a big reset for scrapbooking and stuff that I had to get done, and I worked 92 hours that week.
If I just had to take a guess, just based off of just a hunch I would have to say Irish Connection. You have the most hours, am I correct?
Oh, the most hours over the course of my life, or do you mean per week?
Just over the course of your life.
No, I think I'll win that. I just want to go out there and say that.
No. I don't. I'm 20 years in, and depending on the job, it really varied between employer to employer. But it was always more than your fucking contract. I'll put it that way. But just to put something into perspective, given the theme that's tonight. I would have, at my worst, when I drank the Kool-Aid a bit too much with fucking retail, at my worst, I was putting in far more hours into my job than anything else in my life, including things that were a lot more important, such as family relationships, self-care, everything. That was me at my worst. It was probably a 2-to-1 ratio of like hours on the clock versus hours and everything.
Agreed.
Yeah, it is. I agree with the Irish connection. And I gotta roll here, but I would close my time with just saying what keeps you up at night is that you're never off the clock.
Amen.
Yeah, that was what drove me into the business was the false sense of equity. What drove me out of the business was realizing that it wasn't there. So I completely agree. It keeps you up at night because you're never really not at work.
Excellent
and
point.
Mad Dog, just real quick, so we can do our judgment. Kira, I want to take your question, but we got to get these guys and girls to bed.
We're all old now, thanks to retail.
But there will probably be another declassified soon.
Yes.
And I just want you to know, Irish Connection, in our chat, you've been a hit.
You have. I was greatly looking forward to you being here.
Like, and Mad Dog, you too. So have you, Ryder. But like Irish Connection, they have really talked about you like a lot. So, all right, Mad Dog.
I mean, it's just to the point now. It's like I said earlier. I mean, I go into work every day assuming I'm going to work open to close. I'm, at this little stretch, I'm about 45 days in. I've pushed my vacation back twice. And if I don't go on vacation on Friday, I'm going to start killing people. Like, I'm exhausted.
I think
mentally, physically, spiritually, like exhausted.
I think the easiest way to put this, Alex, for all of us is you can't quantify it. It's way more than it should be.
Okay. Do I need to reread off the questions or
reread off?
I'll vote. I'll go ahead and cast my vote for the experience versus the new employee. I think that one was probably the most interesting.
I'm with the rider. That's my vote.
Okay.
I'm struggling to remember all the questions.
I am too.
All right. Well, there was why do managers set hook on the ones that most like them? Is it a game or 100%? Then there was auto scheduling tools, ass kissing employees, the question about do you run off unwanted employees? What would you really like to be able to say during a job interview? Is it better to get someone as their first job or a veteran worker? That was pretty much it.
I like the job interview on myself.
Job interview. Okay. And Steve and Ryder, y'all both said the one about the job interview. Y'all both said the one about experience, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So based on that, I'll let y'all two, Irish Connection and Mad Dog. So you like ass kissing employees. Irish Connection, you like that. But I think that we overall have a winner with the experience. Mm-hmm. Would y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
I would agree with that. My question is, who in the chat won the answer for that?
Who in the chat? Everyone is going to think this competition is rigged. But I promise you, Steve did not know who asked this question. Hero, you have won the $20 question.
Oh, shit. That's easy to take care of. Fucking A, man. Sweet. Oh, on that note, Irish Connection, Mad Dog, Ryder, once again, thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will want to come back again. Since we've done this now, you guys let us know what y'all would like to discuss from your times in retail. Alex and I, we do this stuff or whatnot, but this thing only is as good as the content, and Alex and I are going to get stale. So give us something crazy. Give us something y'all want to do, and we'll do this again. I think this is fucking fantastic. Irish Connection, I want to once again say publicly, thank you for your support. You've been awesome. Thank you for being here. There's a lot more to come. and we want you to be part of it. So
Appreciate you having us on.
oh, this was great. And look, I made sure you guys weren't on screen. You're all still anon. And hey, you know, now that you're free and clear, you can secretly tell people that you trust to go watch the video on YouTube so we can get views.
I'll tell you what, Steve. Next time you come on, I'll make it like a running thing. I'll go anon next time.
Anon?
Yeah, anon.
Anon, is that kind of like a song?
Like, you build it up like a thing or something, you know?
Yeah, man.
Declassified, unmasked or something.
Well, you go take care of what I know you need to go take care of. So you
Thanks,
have a
man.
good night.
Yep.
You too.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mad Dog, Irish Connection, thank y'all. Real quick before we go, anybody got a quick question real fast? I mean, we've been on here for quite a while. We good?
I just want to know, like, I want to be able to do this monthly. Like,
Yeah.
This Retail Warzone, this
Yeah, I
was the
agree.
most fun I ever had
Yeah.
doing this.
And
This was great.
and Irish Connection and Mad Dog, you two, what you bring is excellent, especially from the worldview. We'll do this again. Like I said, I'm working real hard on trying to find some sort of game show or trivia kind of like retail thing we can do, and I'll keep you posted. I'll find something eventually because I've got nothing better to do my fucking time. So, you know, we'll do it. But, you know, you guys, thank you. If nobody has any questions, we're going to let everybody get off here. I will message and email you guys probably sometime tomorrow morning. We're all old. I'm ready for bed. So,
I want to get everybody who may watch this on YouTube later, who is watching now, who's watching on Twitch, please join our subreddit at the Retail Warzone.
Yep.
And let's have some discussions. And last but not least, I just got to shout this out. Support us on coffee.com/thegenerationvoid. We need some donos.
and
If you have-
real quick, you know, we always close this thing out. Alex, Mad Dog, and Irish Connection, you close us out tonight. You got anything you want to say?
For me personally, this has been great. And honestly, I really do think that you guys might be onto something here. You know, the retail workers in general are not represented, and from almost any perspective. And I really think that it'd be a great space for people to kind of vent and maybe even in the end kind of make some changes. So I think it's a great idea. Keep it up, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Awesome. Mad Dog.
Yeah, I really enjoy it because if not, I'm gonna have like PTSD and mental breakdowns and
Well, that's the whole purpose of this, is to give people, anyone that wants to come in, even if you don't even work retail and you just hate your work life like I do. It's just a nice place just to vent. Just nice to be able to talk about it.
All right, guys. Well, once again, thank y'all for being here. We'll let you guys loose. Irish Connection, go get some sleep. I know it's late there. Mad Dog, I'll be in touch with both of y'all in the next 24 hours. Alex, you have a good night, bro. And we'll see everybody next time.
All
bye
righty.
guys.
Y'all have a good one.